Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Lau with Kanchan Crafts. Today I am going to be sharing with you guys my currently inked for December and January. But before we get there, I wanted to just do a really quick review of my previous currently inked pens. So you guys saw from last time, autumn 2024, these were the beautiful, amazing pens that were inked up. And I definitely enjoyed using all of them. However, there were some that were just that much better. So here are the top 6 among the 14 pens I had last time that I extremely enjoyed, and I just had a lovely time writing with. So first off, obviously, my Aurora 88 Volterra. This one had Kobe Nagasawa Chapel Oak. It is the perfect brown for this pen, and the Aurora 88 just fits so comfortably in my hand. It is lightweight enough that I can write very long sessions with this pen. Again, this pen is extremely light, the Aurora Volterra, so if you prefer a heftier pen for longer writing sessions or just writing in general, the Aurora 88 is not for you. Just want to preface and warn you guys again, as beautiful and as perfect as this pen is for me, that does not mean it is perfect for everyone. But this one, I absolutely love writing with it, and the color was perfect. Next one is my Sailor Pro Gear Kisan. I enjoyed this one so much because I had the ink Sailor Shikiori Yu Tsubame. That is a gorgeous dusty pink that leans a bit darker, so it felt and looked very professional, so I wrote with this a lot. And I also have a cursive smooth italic medium fine nib in this Sailor, so it writes sharp and writes wet with this ink pairing, so it was a very lovely experience. Sailor Pro Gears I've found to be a little on the heavy side for longer writing sessions. So despite my love for Sailor pens, they are a little bit uncomfortable for me in longer writing sessions, but for shorter writing sessions, they're very lovely. I love the feedback. It's just an amazing pen. If you don't like feedback, then Sailor may not be for you, but I really enjoy Sailors. The next one is my Leonardo Memento Zero. This is the Dragon Heart. I had Blanc Petit Prince Red Fox in it. This is a gorgeous kind of color shifting ink. It kind of leans between orange, red, a terracotta brown. It's a lovely color. And this 14 karat extra fine nib in here writes like a juicy fine, regular juicy fine, and I absolutely adore this pen so much. It's super comfortable, and I wrote a lot with this one. Next up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age, and this one had a cursive smooth italic. I had this inked up with Colorverse San Francisco Bay, and you can see that is such a gorgeous color. I had to re-ink this pen up because I used it up. This pen is just that good with that ink. It was such a beautiful, lovely pairing. The Visconti Homo Sapiens, while it is 29 grams, it is heavier than my Sailor Pro Gear. However, it is so comfortable. I am able to write with this one for very long sessions. Very lovely, the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age. So yes, one of the favorites of this period. Then the next one is my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, the Ivory Juma Dragon. This one had a beautiful brown ink in there. Bunga Box's Nostalgia. I just love how comfortable this pen is. It's like, it feels light in my hands, even though it's a pretty hefty pen, and it feels like luxurious. There's a luxurious heft to it. And then the nib is just gigantic. It's just so much fun to write with. It is an extra fine, and I've gotten used to how fine it writes, but the thickness of this nib is perfect on some papers and a little bit thin on other papers. So when I write with the correct paper for this nib, it's a dream to write with. This lovely big gigantic nib and extra fine. I absolutely loved this writing experience, and the pen is just divine and gorgeous. And then the last one I was a little surprised is this one. I think the pairing was what really sold me. I'm not really loving this gold here. It just doesn't match you know, purple as well as I would like it to. I would have loved it this was rose gold. I think of pens like, you know, like how I think about food is we eat with our eyes and our nose first before our taste. And so with fountain pens, I experience the fountain pen through my eyes first. If I, you know, don't really like the body of a pen based on the aesthetics and the look, then I will reach for it a little less. But then when I do reach for it, the writing experience is what then takes over. And writing experience for me, this platinum, all platinum centuries are super comfortable. They're really, really good in my hands, and I can write long sessions with the Platinum Century 3776. And this color, I was really shocked at how much I actually liked it. It's quite a, you know, a blue and not in the teal side of a blue, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's got just a little bit of purple in it and some grays, so I like this color quite a bit, and it came out of this Platinum Century pen really nicely. All right, so those are the wins for that month. So the ones that did not do so well last month was my Bennu. Now I realize why Bennus are not good for me is because, first of all, the talismans do not post so well. Yeah. Like I put a lot of pressure in there, but then it comes off really easily, which is not great. And it's not very well balanced anyways if you post it. So I typically write with it unposted, and when it's unposted, it's super, super light. And then the grip section is super thin. And for some reason, it's a little slippery for my fingers as well. So all three of those together make this pen extremely uncomfortable to write with. I notice that when I'm trying to write, I have to put a little bit more pressure, and I find myself cramping a lot sooner with these Bennus. And so I will not buy any more Bennus for that reason. And I also changed the ink color in here to a shimmer ink because I just feel like a beautiful shimmery pen like this should go with a shimmer ink. So that shimmer ink helped a little bit, but then again, the writing experience really takes the cake at the end of the day once you do pick up a pen, and it is not comfortable for me. So that did not do so well last month. Again, the same reason for this one. This is the Platinum Kanazawa Makie. Again, this is a very, very thin pen and also very light. So thin pens, you know, thin grip section, light pens, they do not do well with me. So as much as I loved the look of this pen, the feel of the nib, the writing experience was not comfortable, but I paired it with an ink that I loved so much, so I did use up all the ink. So there is that. These two were also not such wins for me. This one was a perfect color pairing, however, and it looks beautiful. I love writing with this one, but as with some people, the Pilot vanishing points are a little bit heavy and uncomfortable to write with for longer writing sessions sometimes. They're kind of more meant for quick note jotting, so that's basically kind of what I use this for. And I like to use my pens for longer journaling sessions sometimes, so for that reason this one didn't get used as much. But whenever I did pick it up, I loved the color combination. And then this last one, the Kilk Celestial Luna. The only bad thing about this pen was that there were some spores and mold that grew inside this nib, and I think I tried my best to clean it as much as possible, but I think it was really hard to get all the mold out of there because I wasn't able to disassemble the nib and feed like I could at TWSBI. So I believe that there was still some nasty gunk still left in there. So the ink did not flow out so well, even though it was a lovely wet sailor ink. And so this writing experience was a little bit dry, quite dry actually, and so I didn't really like it. All right, so that was it for my review of last month. So now let's get on with the new month. All right, so here are the new pens for January and December. Look at that beautiful tray of pens. First, we have my TWSBI Eco White Rose Gold. And in here I have this gorgeous ancient song. This ink is called the Ancient Charm Song of Wanderer. So it's a lovely red ink with gold shimmer. Perfect for the festive Christmas season. Okay, so this is my TWSBI Eco White Rose Gold. And it has a 1.1 millimeter stub. The ink is Ancient Charm. Song of Wanderer. This is a really smooth writing stub nib. I absolutely love it. The only TWSBIs I have left are the rose gold TWSBIs because I enjoy rose gold a lot. All right, next up is this gorgeous new pen that I just got from Pen Boutique. This is the Desert Eclipse, and it is made of cellulose acetate. So this is a really beautiful material. It looks almost like a tortoise shell design. Now this pen has a gorgeous, beautiful floral scent to it. When you take a sniff of it, it's just beautiful. Like, you know how I said earlier that we experience our pen with our eyes first? Well, I experienced this pen with my eyes and my nose before the writing experience. I really like the whole experience of this pen. Plus it looks so beautiful. Like, it looks like a $1,000 celluloid pen, but it's not. It's very affordable. So I have in here a diamine ink. It's Diamine Brandy Dazzle. It's a gorgeous orangey terracotta ink. And this is a fine nib. So it is pretty fine actually. Like most Leonardo fines are a little bit thicker. This one is like a true fine, I think. Almost leans a little bit on the extra fine side of things. So this is Leonardo Momento Zero. Desert Eclipse. It's a fine steel nib, and the ink is Diamine Brandy Dazzle. I think it's a very festive ink color choice, and I think that it also goes really well with this pen. I absolutely love it. I mean, I never started as a brown person, you know, like a brown ink person or brown pen, but I'm slowly starting to build up my brown collection, and I really like it. I think that the gold on here goes really well. A rose gold would be fine too, but the gold is absolutely gorgeous on this pen. All right. Next pen is my Platinum Century Shape of Heart Chai Latte. This beautiful neutral toned Platinum Century. So in here I have Wearingill's The Nightingale and the Rose. And it's very, very shimmery. I typically think of these lighter toned colors from Wearingill to be dry inks, but I was wrong. This one is not that dry actually. It writes really, really wet and smooth. You can hear that pencil feedback. It's lovely. Okay, so this is my Platinum. Century. 3776. Shape of Heart. You can hear the feedback, but it's also extremely smooth. It's just so smooth. This ink and this pen pairing, it's divine. Chai Latte. This is a 14 karat medium nib. And the ink is Wearingill. The Nightingale and the Rose. Wow. That felt so wonderful to write with. Again, I love my Platinums. They are perfect for my hands. And this ink, I was really shocked and surprised at how well it flowed in this pen. So I'm gonna really enjoy this one. Next up is another Platinum pen, and this is a new acquisition. This is the Akizakura, which means Autumn Cherry Blossoms, or also Cosmos. So many names for this, but they all mean the same thing. But Cosmos is the fall cherry blossom flowers that bloom in Japan. And so this one is the second pen in this series from Hachimonjiya. And it's got my favorite, like, seafoamy teal color on the cap. I love it. The cap is translucent and it's not sparkly, which is a shame. I wish it was a little sparkly, but that's okay. And then the body is like this peachy pink. I absolutely love it. I can pair this with either a turquoise, teal, or dusty pinks, peachy pinks that I like. But in here today I have Colorverse Dust of Adrastia. I really like this color. At first glance, I thought it would be a beautiful dusty pink. It's not quite the dusty pink I would like, but I want to just experiment it and see how I like it over the next few months. So this ink color is a dusty pink with some soft blue shimmers. I think it's very interesting. This is my Platinum. Platinum Century 3776, Akizakura. 14 karat medium. This ink is kind of dry from my experience. You can see that the medium lines on this one is a little bit thinner than the medium lines of the Shape of Heart, and so the inks do dictate the line width, in the same pen nib. And they're all shimmer inks, so some shimmer inks are wetter, some are drier. This one, specifically the Dust of Adrastia, tends to be drier. So Colorverse. And I'm getting a little bit of skipping here. I'm wondering if it's because it is the shimmer in this ink, or if it's just that the paper is not flat. Colorverse Dust of Adrastia. Or it could be that my hand oils were on this paper. So this pen writes just as beautifully as this one. So I definitely think it is a mix of the ink and my hand oils, because my previous Platinum wrote perfectly fine. No hard starts or skipping at all. All right. But just based on this so far, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this writing experience as much, which I'm a little sad about because the color is kind of pretty. All right, the fifth pen on this page is going to be inked up with Van Diemen's Persian Princess. This is a gorgeous, lovely, saturated pink with some gold shimmers. Or I think it's gold or rose gold. And then I have it also in my Persian Princess pen made by Pens by Casey from Australia. It's a super cute pen. This pen actually has some really gorgeous blue chatoyance that comes through everywhere. I think it's a really beautiful material that he and one of his friend poured together to create this lovely resin. Yeah, this Van Diemen ink is wet and beautiful. This is also a medium nib, so it does write a little bit juicier. Pens by Casey. Persian Princess. And the ink is Van Diemen's. Persian Princess. I like how this ink comes out of this pen. It's a really nice writing experience, and the color itself is also really pretty. A good match for the pink parts of this pen. So I really like this pairing. All right, next up on the other side of my spread here for my currently inked, and we will start off with the other color for Christmas, which is a green, and this is the Schon Design San Francisco Pen Show exclusive pen. It's got this gradient from blue or turquoise to green. I love it so much. In here I have another Van Diemen ink. It's called Emerald Eyes. This one is a beautiful emerald green with green shimmers. Super, super pretty. It is also extremely like in your face. It's and it's very bright. Very bright, gorgeous, saturated. Let's see here. And then I have in here a fine nib, so you can see from this that this ink is wet, and it's a wet flowing ink. So this is my Schon Design San Francisco Pen Show exclusive. Oh, it feels so smooth to write with. Fine nib. Ink is Van Diemen's. Emerald Eyes. Absolutely wonderful experience. Very smooth, perfect fine tip, and this ink isn't so wet that this fine becomes a medium. That's how I like my ink pairings. All right, that's a lovely, lovely pen and ink pairing right there. I think it's so gorgeous. Next up is my Leonardo Momento Magico. This is the Neve d'Inverno from Goldspot. They're exclusive from November, basically for Christmas or the winter. And I have this inked up with Tono and Limbs in collaboration with Kobayashi. This is called Shoku Daikiri Mitsutada, which is sky blue. I don't think this whole name means sky blue, because sky blue is much shorter name than that. But basically it's a sky blue color. I don't think it's a sky blue color, but this color makes me happy. It makes me so happy. It's definitely a tealy green, and with some gray undertones. So beautiful, beautiful. It's got silver shimmers, which matches very well with this pen and the silver sparkles in it. And this one is more muted and less saturated, but it still flows really well, as you can see from that. Leonardo, Momento, Magico, Neve d'Inverno, and this is a fine nib. So you can see that this fine nib writes a lot thicker than this fine nib over here, and it's also smoother. I doubt it's the ink choice because both inks are very, very well flowing. It's just that sometimes Leonardo does have a little bit of discrepancy between, you know, the widths of their fine nibs. I have noticed they're all quite different, but these two fine tips are, you know, in the range of fines that I like. I have another fine that's way broader than this, and I don't like it. Alright, so this is the fine steel nib. The ink is Tono in Limbs. Shoku Daikiri Mitsutada, Sky Blue. Oh my god, this ink makes me so happy. I really like these less saturated or unsaturated, kind of toned down colors. They are soft and easy in the eyes, but still very legible. Yeah, but that was a very, very smooth writing experience. I will say that I do prefer the smoother pen and ink pairings, and your ink definitely does have an effect on how much smoother you can make your pen feel. So having that perfect ink pairing is really important to me. So there you have it for that one. Very, very lovely pairing. All right, next up is a new ink that came out recently. This is J.R. Bond's Turquoise de Perse, or de Perse. I like the gold shimmers. This blue is more like the turquoise of the fountain pen community. It is not very green. It's more blue. And I have it inked up in my Aurora 88 Ortigia. This is the sixth city in the Secret Voyages of Italy, and I think that this pen is really pretty and beautiful. The medium nib is also extremely smooth writing. Very lovely writing experience. All of my Auroras are beautiful writing experiences. All right, actually that's a really gorgeous blue coming out of this pen. I think it's a perfect match. This is the Aurora 88 Ortigia. This is an 18 karat medium nib. And the ink is J.R. Bond Turquoise de Perse. It does have a feedback to it, even though it is medium, but I love that feedback. It's still very smooth. It's actually very glassy, buttery smooth. I know that Aurora nibs tend to have more feedback, more tactile experience to them, but this one was extremely smooth. Very lovely pairing. Next up is my favorite pen of this month. Paired with the worst flowing ink ever, but one of the most beautiful inks out there that I've ever seen. This is Dominant Industries Sunset. This is like a lavender, lilac-y, just very soft, unsaturated purple with rose gold, purple, pink shimmer. Like, I don't know. Just look at that. Like, is that not just gorgeous? So it says sunset. I do think some sunsets are purple like this. very gorgeous when the sky is filled with a lavender color as night falls. I paired it with my Sailor Pro Gear Rhyme on Trees Amethyst. I think that it's perfect color pairing, perfect thematic, and this is a winter pen, so it's extremely perfect for me. I do have a medium nib on this Sailor. Medium Sailor nibs tend to be a little bit on the wetter side, and broads for sure, but this ink is just that dry. It is extremely dry that the writing experience is not great. But once the ink dries, or after I'm done writing, it looks beautiful, and I think it's worth it to struggle through the writing experience a little bit just to get the effect of this whole pairing in my journal. I think it'll look gorgeous. So Sailor Pro Gear. Rhyme on Trees. Amethyst. So you can hear even the medium nib has a lovely loud feedback. More so with a drier ink. This is 21 karat medium. The ink is Dominant Industry. Sunset. All right, so that wasn't terrible to write with, I will say. On some papers, this combination might be worse, but it is a very, very light ink because this Sailor isn't gushing wet enough to make this ink darker. And so it comes out very, very light, but once it dries, the rose gold shimmer will kind of pop up and it'll look gorgeous. So that is my pairing for my lovely lavender ink. I think it's gorgeous. Like you can see here that this is a lot darker than this, but I think that what I'm getting here is more of that light lavender color instead of this darker piece. So a wetter pen will show more shimmer and more of that bright rose gold pink shimmer. All right. And the last pen, also a beautiful, beautiful pen and ink pairing. I have Robert Oster AZ Monster. This is an Atlas exclusive ink. It's very interesting. This swatch is like a dark purple with purple shimmer, but coming out of this pen, and this is my Pelican black tortoise shell. This is the M605 because it's silver, so it's a 605. And it comes out of here as like a periwinkle blue, and then it dries. The purple shimmer pops up, and then you're like, oh, it's a purple. I think it's very interesting. The base of it is not purple. I thought it was purple this whole time, but I don't know, my lighting is getting a little worse here. It is winter, so I don't have a lot of lighting left, but you can see here the difference here between this lavender and this. It looks more like a blue, dark blue, than it is a purple. But when the shimmers float up and this dries, it looks so beautiful. Let me just post this. Pelican M605 black tortoise shell. This is a 14 karat extra fine. The ink is Robert Oster. AZ Monster. All right, so this pen has feedback as well. You heard that, and it's an extra fine, but it is so smooth. It's definitely smoother than the Sailor Medium that I just used. And with this ink pairing, you can also see how this Pelikan Extra Fine is slightly thicker or broader than the 21 karat Sailor Medium. Sailor Mediums are definitely a lot broader and thicker than that, but like I said, the very dry ink made it thinner, and Robert Oster's AZ Monster is actually pretty average to wet flowing, and so it made this Extra Fine a very smooth, lovely writing experience. My Extra Fine Pelikan tends to be a little bit on the dry side, so I put a few inks in there. I ended up with Izzy Monster, and I love it. It's a great writing experience. All right, well, let's take a look again at these beautiful, beautiful pens that I have for this currently inked. I love my pens so much. They just look so beautiful and pretty. And then here are the finished look of all these inks. So this is Ancient Charm. Look at that gold shimmer. It is pretty strong, so like if in the right light all you see is gold, but without light it's kind of like a dark burgundy red. And then Diamond Brandy Dazzle, because that fine nib from that Leonardo is so thin I could barely see any shimmer, but you can see there in the swatch there's a little bit of gold shimmer in there. And then the Platinum, this Wearingeul ink is also not showing up so much. I know that finer tips don't show the shimmers so well, but I do like to write with my finer nibs. That is my problem to deal with. The only thicker nibs that I have on this list of pens will show the shimmers much better, like that one up there. The Persian Princess down here, Van Diemen's, like look at that gorgeous gold shimmer right on top of that pink. It's really pretty. And this Colorverse Dust of Adrastea, I cannot see any of the blue shimmer that's supposed to be in there. It's a little sad, but that's also again my fault for pairing it with a very thin medium platinum nib. Van Diemen's Emerald Eyes, it is a green shimmer on top of a emerald green ink, so it's also very subtle. If you like that kind of a shimmer, then it's more subtle, I think, but again, a broader nib will make it less subtle. Yeah, so I think let me see. Yeah, the Dominant Industry Sunset is not coming out as pretty as I want it to be, but I think it could just be this paper too, but I will review it by the end of January or beginning of February, and we'll see how I feel about all these pens and inks. But as you could tell from the video, that there are some pens that are just going to write so much better, and I think that those will end up being my favorites for this period of currently inked. So let me know down in the comments which one of these pen and ink pairings you like the most, which one you think I will end up liking the most. All right, and let me know also what you are writing with for this month. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me in my currently inked for December. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.